Steuben County Drainage Board meeting, September 15th, 2025. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes for September 2nd. First and seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All right, second item. The number 536 Arthur Boyer Regulated Drain Pre-Reconstruction Meeting.
Well, we talked here about, we have a signed petition. We talked about it, I believe, what was it, a month or so ago? And we have the majority, I think, of the big landowners that are here. We have Tim Favorite here, which is a major landowner. We have Hasselman here. I don't know who else is, I believe you guys are.
Holders Trust,
Okay.
Harpums.
And so that's the one we discussed, that we're in major need of something to do. I don't know, did Tim want to say something too, as far as his?
Be something to address. He was concerned about, because just the upper portion was gonna be reconstructed. And he's concerned about if that gets fixed, then all that water is gonna drain to him and it has nowhere to go. Cause his tile's all broken down as well.
So again, I think we have approximately 350 benefited acres, 348 in this watershed. So this is just a thing of, if you want me to proceed, you hire an engineer. Guess we got landowners, so I'm not quite sure how that.
Get there.
It's just kind of a pre-meeting, I guess, to get their opinion. So
What are we at on that drainage unit as far as funds or
it brings in about $900 a year.
money?
You've no idea what the cost would be.
Yeah, we did it one time just to do the main part there. On the upper end was going to be approximately $120,000 plus. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Plus the engineering.
Yeah, plus the engineering, but that's just on the upper end. So I think that's why Tim Favorite was here too, because he would be, am I right in saying, Tim, you'd be on the east side of 69?
Are you on the east side of 69?
What?
You're on the east side of 69?
Yes.
So I think Tim said too, hey, if we're gonna do the top, let's redo the bottom yet too. So I guess I just want to know how to proceed on this. Like I said, there is no funds, but we'd have to drastically increase some rates.
Yeah, we have a maintenance hearing and a reconstruction hearing if we proceed, and the reconstructions are payable over 5 years. So it'd be a separate assessment.
It's a separate assessment. Okay. But then, once you have an idea, so we have to probably do the engineering first.
Exactly.
Get the,
You have to have that engineering done first to see, get a better estimate of how much it's gonna cost, then have the hearing. And we can't actually even bill it out until all of the labor has been done, all the work has actually been done. We get a true cost and then we bill it. We can only go 10% over for what the hearing is, but if it goes over that, we have to rebid.
And so I agree too, you guys heard me talk over and I'd like to fix the lower end of things too. If we fix the upper end, we're gonna shovel that water across 69 and flood out that, so we should, if we're gonna do it. Again, it's a smaller unit, so it's gonna drastically increase the ditch tax.
Or just the maintenance part, but if the whole thing is reconstructed, it won't really need a whole lot of maintenance again for quite some time.
Right.
True.
so we could theoretically just do the maintenance for the reconstruction and not even touch the maintenance.
I'd have to see for sure what the balance is, but it's still only bringing in $900 a year. So
Right.
there's not much you can do.
On that side of it, but if we were to reconstruct the whole thing, we don't
True.
have any
There,
maintenance.
now
on it.
there are some little spurs and stuff too, and I don't think that was included.
It was not, that was just pretty much the highlighted area on your map. The red area, well, the whole entire red area with the blue dots is the whole entire watershed where you can see kind of that main in the middle part, the solid, oh, okay, you guys have it up here. So yes, that was just for that area alone. Would have been $100,000+ plus engineering.
Of course, there'll be more if you do the south at the lower end as well.
How many feet is that?
There was 1,903 feet, I believe.
Just that area there, yeah.
Yeah, just that portion. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 3,900 feet. And it would have to be 18 inch because they no longer make 16 inch. And it is in muck. And current- Tim, is your portion in muck ground too?
Your portion in Muckrama.
I don't think there's any muck ground, but we got low ground right there. I think that goes right through, which I know on another project over Lake Valley Road, they fixed upstream. And then that put a lot of pressure downstream on me and it started blowing. Every year we got to fix an 18-inch tile. That was my concern on the low side of this. Is that going to handle fixing that or is it just going to move the problem on down? Yeah.
Right now, at just the 120,000 rough estimate, ends up being like $350 per acre. Per benefit acre would be the cost. $120,000 total. That's just the upper end.
Over how many years?
5 years.
5 years.
10% interest on the unpaid balance after the first year.
Is that cover that 10%? Seems high. These estimated ones, rates you have here are per year.
No, that would be the total cost. If you're looking at the assessment run,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that'd be the total cost, and then that would be split up into 5-year installments, basically 10, because spring and fall.
So the tax due would be split up into 5.
5.
But again, that's only the upper end,
That's only the
correct?
upper-
This is only the upper end too.
Yeah, that'll make engineering more expensive, everything.
Yeah, because you're gonna have more like survey. I do have extra copies of some of these if anybody wants to.
But the engineering's just a quote anyway. Check it out going up.
We know what the cost of that is.
It's what, 20,000?
About approximately 20.
Yeah, but that was just for that upper end.
That is-
Kind of issues do we run into with the interstate here?
The state pays for their crossing. So that won't be figured into what the costs for the landowners would be because they would get separate billing for that crossing. Which got to coordinate with them as well.
Well, there already is a crossing, right?
Yes,
So
so anything that's there, yeah, they need that, the state has to pay for it.
It is clay going under 69. However, inspecting it, it was a yellow clay, which it wasn't the old orange. So it was a newer, it looked to be in pretty good shape. Again, it's still clay tile going underneath 69, but it did appear to be in good shape.
What size is that?
That I believe was 18, either 16 or 18, Rick. I believe it was 16 clay, which, again, we'll have to go to 18 inch. Because plastic doesn't make a 16.
For the road, that was it, maybe like 48, is it bigger?
No, it wasn't 48. It may have been, again, I was over there only for a short time. Dave Dill's excavating, excavated that and we found that, so. Greg, does it show any information on the beacon as far as what size tile that would be going underneath the road?
Guess my point being, as long as it's bigger, same size or bigger than what we're gonna be putting in, you can't shove bigger tile into smaller
Yeah.
and expect it to continue to work correctly.
Well, that's why I think Tim's in here to see what we can do.
Yeah, that whole portion shows 16-inch.
What did you say the balance in that account was?
Balance is negative $979.
So we're about a year in the hole. And that was basically from just having an excavating company come out and inspect that tile. You know, it's 2 years spent up in a day's time.
And the other thing, if it doesn't pass, who's paying for the engineering, the $20,000+ engineering cost? If we're not liable for that. I see the petitioner or
Crank up the maintenance. It's pretty free.
I don't think it's either petition.
Can I just say something real quick? I'm not gonna deny, I think this needs to be fixed. And, you know, all this, I got other concerns downstream and the tile handling and blowing out. That low ground of mine floods every year, which is gonna add pressure to that. But the big picture is, I think, as I represent 51% of this cost, $64,000 falls on my family. Not to mention the Harpins have a big portion of it. My neighbors here have got a good chunk of it. This is all a big tax burden on us. My concern is it needs to be done, but there has to be a better way to take the tax implications off us. For example, what has happened to all the money that's gone into the drainage over the last 20, 30 years? I've never seen any work done on that in my lifetime. Maybe some small repair, but nothing major. Where is all that money? And this should have been done 20, 30 years ago, raise the tax a small percent, so we wouldn't get to where we are now. How do we handle it now? I don't know. I agree something needs to be done, but the tax implications on us is, I think, a little bit excessive. There has to be a better way. That's what I want to say.
Greg, at one time, we had talked with one of the engineers, was there any type of layer grants or any type of funding? Was that just kind of hearsay or was that, because at one time we kind of talked about that.
that's, if we gave them the green light to proceed, they could probably maybe find something, but this isn't a lake or a stream, it's the tiles.
Their grants is for lake and river enhancement.
Okay,
So there's rarely,
so minus layer, is there some sort of
It'd
funding?
be very minimal, if so, and it would just cost the engineer that much more as well, so kind of offset.
I think that's geared more towards municipalities.
Okay.
They're gonna redo like their whole storm drain system, and they could maybe get some kind of federal funding possibly,
Gotcha.
but all that's getting less as well.
Yeah, there's this grant opportunities like that are definitely right now.
Well, I might sitting there thinking, wonder if the Indiana Bond Bank might be an opportunity. If they do both the upper and the lower of it,
I'm not familiar with that. Can you
to
explain
lengthen the
that?
term of it out. So instead of them having to pay it back in a 5-year period, they can pay it back in a 10-year or 20-year.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I think Tim did a great job of addressing the elephant in the room. But just for the record, so that everybody knows out loud what we're talking about money-wise, I'd like to hear what each one of the folks going down through there, their portion of that bill's gonna be.
I have a copy.
I know you have it,
No, I have extra copies.
and I know what it is. But I don't know what the worst is or what exactly.
Yeah, that's all on there.
That's serious, still not going where I wanna go with this. I want it to be read out loud so that everybody knows what kind of money figures we're talking.
Oh, we could do that. I mean, I think there's like 21 parcels altogether. Frederick Dodge on something that he has 21 benefited acres, his total would be $7,350. That's payable over 5 years. His other parcel with 15 benefited acres would be $5,250. Favorite Farms with his 23.25 parcels would be $8,137.50. Another of his parcels with 32.03 acres would be $11,210.50. His other parcel with 10 benefited acres would be $3,500. Another one with 46.22 acres is $16,177. Another one is 26.17 acres, $9,159.50. And another one with 5.5 benefited acres is $1,925. And Marjorie Harpham, the trust, 7.1 benefited acres, $2,485. Another one with 45.28 benefited acres is $15,848. Her other parcel with 1.6 benefited acres is $1,000, which is the minimum assessment. Tom Hasselman, 6 acres benefited, $2,100. His other parcel with 40 benefited acres is $14,000. The highway department, just there's part of the reconstruction, just for the right of way. Doesn't include the crossing, is $4,819.50 because they have 13.77 acres of benefited right of way. Another Indiana Department of Highway, 5.14 acres is $1,799. Lake Valley Farms, which I believe is also a favorite property, is 40 benefited acres, $14,000. Joshua Woodsow, 4 benefited acres, $1,400. The Steuben County Highway Department, 5.02 benefited acres, $1,757. Dale and Judy Worsler has the last 3 parcels with 0.06 $1,000 because it's a minimum assessment. 0.07 acres, $1,000, and 0.5 acres, $1,000, for a total of $124,918.
Again, that's just a rough estimate, and then that's just the top now, not even the top.
Right.
So those numbers aren't even and no engineering, so. Yeah, you're right, I think a bond bank, something to look into.
Yeah, just from that standpoint, it would at least not make it such a big bite up at once.
Interest would be lower too.
Yeah, they're usually a market rate, so it's probably 3 or 4% right now.
Another option to think about, is the landowner just kind of wanted to cut out the drainage board and surveyor's office. They could pay for it on their own, fix it on their own, and you're not paying for engineering or the interest over 5 years. So landowners wanted to get together and that was to be done under the surveyor's supervision. Approval. But that would save a lot of money as well. But, the cost for, 5 years, or 10 year, 20 year, pay it off.
You have a ledger for that with you.
I do not, but I can always,
I can pull it up. It's on yeah, that's,
Yeah, that'll give you a brief explanation. Yeah, but it only brings in under $1,000 a year, so it doesn't take much to spend it. Maintain it.
See what we have done.
I think he's trying to look it up.
You have any major moves money that's not loaned out to? Not that, but you're short, maybe for some other project, but stretch out the tail.
So you're still looking at, that's just the upper part of it. To do the lower part of it, it's probably gonna be,
Half of that, about half the distance.
yeah. At least.
Right.
Become a little short.
Hold up, man. All of this, that'd be an open ditch.
I like the idea of an open ditch, but I believe the Harp owns this, correct? Do not want an open ditch through their woods. Correct, so there is some, I think they would have to agree to that, so. Which would absolutely save a lot of money, but, then you have maintenance too with that. Keeping ditch sprayed and cleaned and. So over time, it would be, if it would be done correctly, bedded with stone, put in, we wouldn't have to worry about it. The their great grandkids would have to worry about it. It'd probably be good again for another 100+ years, so.
So we just look at our options as far as possible other funding.
Well, I was gonna say, the first thing you're gonna have to do is the engineering.
Yeah.
And obviously that fund isn't raising enough revenue to have that done.
And then the question is, who pays for that engineering if it doesn't pass?
Here we go. $5. It's actually in the hole, $1,096.24.
I can scroll down whenever you're ready.
Yeah, scroll down and find the last time the work was being done.
It was work done in 2025 and 2024.
So just for the engineer to do a site visit, be able to give us a quote, $180. Dave Dilt's excavating,
That was just exploratory.
$1,200.
H&P up there for 20.
H&P fixed the suck hole, $800. Kensick Engineering had came up with a reconstruction on the lower end at one time, I believe, as well.
We have engineering for that already?
It would have been on the lower end, but it would have been when they were one maintenance unit, I believe, when they weren't split. Because these were originally there were 3 maintenance units.
It would have been split by then, because that was when Larry was still.
But it shows Arthur Hoyer, but it was that lower unit. Remember we were looking at that drawing?
It looked like it was a different unit.
Yeah,
Shoemaker and Chap Lemon. I think.
Chap Lemon or one of those, yeah.
2018 through 2020, we spent upwards of $4,000 $5,000 doing engineering and nothing ever got done?
Or even 17,
Larry passed away.
17 to 18.
So where's all that engineering data at?
Some copies back there.
We have copies, but it was for this drain here. It was not for this up here. But it was titled Arthur Hoyer, but it was for this here.
So that's no longer even in the maintenance unit.
Correct.
It's a separate one.
Really? Okay. Probably can't pay back.
That's to clean out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was work done into the woods here at one point as well. Still see the footprint of that. The layer line's just off. This was replaced at one time.
How many years ago was that? Dave built excavating went through that woods there.
You did something before.
As far as I knew,
There's still a standpipe there.
that's like all they replaced with it. They dug into that and put a standpipe. I don't think they really did much tile work. That's been 12, 15 years ago.
Gonna say that, go back to your older fields and see if that's opened up for
And it is starting to grow in pretty fast.
I guess
them. Yeah, yeah. So that section may or may not be.
It will have to be because again, the
Oh, it's higher.
elevation.
Yeah, or there's elevation.
Yeah, so we'll have to not only make a bigger pipe, but flatten out the elevation to drain the upper end.
Well, I guess.
Well, what about the lower end? Tim, do you want, I mean, does Tim want it tiled? The lower end, or can that be open ditch and through your field on the east side?
Have you looked at it or?
I have not, no.
That's my concern. Has anybody even investigated it? Maybe it's fine, maybe it's not. If we fix that, do we need to fix that too?
Mhm.
And of course, that's just gonna make it a worse cost to us, but I don't want to see us fixing that, putting a Band-Aid, like fixing the upstairs bathroom, not doing anything down below and it just floods the basement, you know?
We're not sure if that is going to be the case. or not.
I'm not confident. I just thought we should at least investigate whether it's gonna be okay there on the bottom side of that.
Well, if that's 16 now, you don't want to dump an 18 into it, right?
this portion over here is
It
18.
is 18.
Some of it is. So here. So
Down to 18 right in there.
16. 18 will start here. We'd still have to cross 69. But old clay as well. As far as we know.
I guess I'd like to know what all needs replaced and how far we have to go with it.
It's been dragging on since before any of us were in office here, so.
So the first part of it, I guess, is to get an engineer out there. So how are we gonna pay for that?
Right.
Maintenance hearing first in order to raise the rates to pay for engineering.
You're
And then,
years off before you have funding for it.
well, if we raise the rates, so it's not gonna be 20 years in debt as soon as we pay for engineering. With $900, it's only going in.
Yes, sir.
This whole situation really hurts. It's like taking a knife and sticking it right through my heart because Tom's my friend. And I certainly want to see that continue to be so. So one question I've got is, what would it take to fix Tom's problem? Because that's where the biggest issue is that I see. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but that's the biggest issue I see is that Tom has a wet area in his field and it needs to be drained. And what's it going to take to do that? And do it at some kind of reasonable cost, not hundreds of thousands of dollars. As we say.
Like a reconstruction.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. Unfortunately, that's what it costs to take care of water in that area. It's gonna be complete reconstruction.
Did Kevin Story say something about a pump or something?
He had mentioned about a solar pump, the pump, but he's used it in a couple areas, being able to pump water uphill. I was hoping he'd be here.
Well, again, though, he is not a landowner in that watershed.
But he does farm.
I don't think that Mr. Hasselman was very, I don't want to speak for yourself, but I will say it would be a temporary Band-Aid to a permanent problem. To have any sort of solar powered pump.
I don't know, there's one sitting right along 69 just north of US 6. It's been that way for a long time. Pumps it from lower well to a higher drain.
But we gotta find a higher drain because that, again,
Yeah. You're looking at alternatives to reconstruction, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Let me say, that I kind of got this started and I just, wanted the county problem fixed. You know, it's been a problem for 50 years or more, but, yeah, I didn't know it was gonna escalate into all this money. You know, it just keeps going. Money and hard feelings and stuff. I guess I'm not losing that many acres, so. If it's gonna be a big issue, which it is, turning into one, I guess we can just live with it.
Maybe we can look at some alternative for funding. And then maybe reassess if we find something out there that would be helpful. We can spread it out over 5 years.
It is gonna be a burden to a lot of people and considerable, but yeah, I had no idea that, what it was gonna turn into money wise.
But if we don't fix it, 10 years down the road, it's gonna be that much more. That's the
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, probably will, so,
Obviously, $950 a year isn't enough to even maintain it.
No.
So probably gonna have to do something on that end of it at least.
Yeah.
Even the Band-Aids cost more than.
yeah, there would be some kind of other funding out there, you know, but,
Yeah.
that would be great, but,
I can't approach the bench. I have trouble hearing. I apologize. I should have brought some hearing aids, but I don't hear everything you guys are discussing, just parts of it. One of my concern is I suppose this is an issue because it goes through the Harper Woods. or what's got into it? I assume that's the issue here. Is that what happened?
I think it's more so that muck has settled at the upper end. And so that tile is actually trying to push uphill into Harpham's Woods, and then it goes back down.
Do you think it's okay through Harpman's Woods?
Is it okay? It appears to be okay, yes. However, in through Harpham's Woods, that whole entire elevation is gonna have to be flattened out from 69 all the way to the top.
Okay, so you're thinking it's best to start at 69 and go up. My,
To get the ball out of the pipe.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because over years, I think that muck ground can sink up to a half inch or so, maybe more a year, so.
I'm gonna throw out an idea here, whether it works or not, but do you know what size that is?
Right now, it's 16-inch clay, so plastic does not make 16, so it had to be 18.
Okay. Would,
Court put plastic in there. I saw him putting it
Yeah,
in
he-
through the woods.
Yeah, Courtney Story, Big Delts Excavating did replace a section of that with 18-inch dual wall.
okay. Does, I guess I had heard through the grapevine that there's gonna have to do like engineering on this, like 20 grand. Is that right?
That's correct.
That seems excessive to me. So I'm gonna throw a crazy idea out there. You've got two farmers right there that farm all that ground. Both of them have some tremendous digging equipment.
Mhm.
Is it possible maybe we could go together and do this for a significant cost savings if we decide to move ahead on this?
Absolutely, yes. You guys as the farmers could get it done. I'd come out there and supervise it, but you guys could get it done for,
I can't imagine we're gonna get that much. I mean, tile, 10, 20,000, 30 maybe, but I could see a significant cost savings if we just pitch in and got this done. I mean, back in the day, that was done a lot when building this county and the roads. I've heard stories. Like I said, I ain't gonna deny this needs to be done. It's just the cost burden on everybody here with a lot of ground on this is really high. And I'm just trying to figure out a way, if we decide to move ahead, I want to make sure it's not going to basically flood my ground on the low end. And if there's something we can do to make it happen like this, like me and Stoys get together and make it happen, or if we can somehow figure out a better way to tax it and spread it over the next 30 years. I'm just, as an example, there's something that should have been done 30 years ago and we probably would have the money to do it. I've got several other ditches and drains with the same issues. I got the same problem, but I can't afford to start throwing out 60 grand every chance we get.
Cheapest solution is doing what you're talking about, would be,
Just put that out.
is cheapest solution is for you guys to get together and
That's something that's acceptable with the drainage board.
as long as it's okay with the surveyor, he's supervising it. Yeah.
I would say if we decide,
It's the drainage board and it's not considered reconstruction. 'Cause
Right.
If the drainage board handles it, it has to be. Yeah, if you do it
You hear
yourself.
that, Tim?
no, I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't go through this board, as long as you take care of it on
We
your own.
work with the drainage board.
You can work with them, but
Yeah.
as long as the
Okay.
funding didn't go through this.
But does it have to go through the woods? I would imagine a concern the Harpens has is wiping out the woods. Can we come outside of the woods? And I mean, that stuff I guess we could discuss, but
That'd be considered rerouting, but then also if they're paying for it and they're all agreeable and maybe sign something.
Okay, could we take it then, if they would reroute the tile? Could they take it and then we assume, if we're going out there and inspecting it, could we assume jurisdiction of that then?
You would be rerouting the regulated drain.
But
So,
could we reassume jurisdiction of that then?
yeah, if you reroute it, you still have jurisdiction over it. It's only if you vacate or something like that, but yeah. you're
Yeah, it'd
rerouting.
still be our drain.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a problem with going through that. I wouldn't, I mean, it's an open valley through there. We just didn't want an open ditch. That's all we were.
Well, over time though, the roots do get into the connections, even if it's run solid through there.
All
I
right.
assume that clay,
Well,
yeah.
here's what we'll do. If you want to look into that on between you and the property owners and, have that discussion of doing it yourselves, then I think that's probably the lowest cost is for you to at least have that discussion and maybe look at those numbers. Okay? And if those numbers are unsatisfactory to you guys, then we can come back and look into some other
It
things.
benefits, I mean, it's the way farm all the ground there, so it's gonna benefit both of us. I don't have a problem pitching in and supplying equipment to make it happen, and I'd rather do that than shell out a bunch of money and doing it that way. So I assume this is all just discussion and how we proceed from here, so I want to interject that. If that's something we want to entertain, I'm open to that, whether I discuss that with you directly or how we do that. But
You can just discuss that with Jim and the property owners themselves. All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
That wouldn't have to be anything again written down or anything. It could be just a verbal.
We would need to have a documentation where all the landowners who's ever pitching in is agreeable to it and the route if they're, because their right of way may change, like if they go around the woods rather than through the woods, their right of way is gonna change. So then they're gonna have restrictions on that. So the affected landowners would need to sign.
Good.
Because regardless where that goes, you're still gonna have what, the 75 foot?
Correct.
That sound more agreeable, Tom?
That's fine. That sounds good. It does. What I'm just hearing here about the woods is I think it's okay to go through the woods if it's tile. Is that correct?
I kind of think
It's tile now.
Right.
So there's a good tile in there now if that tile was put lower through the woods. Maybe, I don't know.
You're not gonna be able to save that dual wall though, Tom.
Okay,
It's ribbed on the outside and dirt collects it. It's
okay, all
you're not
right,
gonna be able to save it.
okay. But yeah, no,
Tile and woods don't mix very well.
And that, you'd wanna run solid, not perforated through the woods if you can do that.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay. So got a plan. Doesn't involve us.
Is there still gonna be any consideration about maintenance?
Maybe that's,
We still need to.
but we don't make them when it goes high. If
Yeah.
they do.
Plus, once it goes in a 4-year surplus, we no longer collect on it.
Yeah. So I guess my thought is if the maintenance was high enough to at least pay for materials, or can we do that even?
Yeah.
We would have to have a full year. We would pay for materials. Because then it would be considered a reconstruction. It's going through the board. And it has to be engineered then.
Yeah, that was when it's.
Yeah.
See,
It's the engineering that really kicks it.
Yeah.
okay. Hopefully that we can resolve that issue. All right, item number 3, number 561 Judge Cole, regulated drain watershed Pigeon Creek Basin.
So, I believe Sturdy Builders is doing phase 2. They have engineered plans. I would like you guys to send that out to a secondary, review. There's a sheet there too. I talked with Leroy. He thought about being here today, but he didn't. But just because the Judge Cole drain in town is probably the most vulnerable watershed that we have, probably in the whole entire county, I'd just like you guys' blessing, if you will, to send that out for secondary review. I'm not willing to put, first of all, I don't have the knowledge or the credentials to okay it. And I think it'd be in our best benefit to send that out for secondary review. Because I believe Michelle had discussed with me that the first phase, I believe that one did go up to secondary review.
Christopher engineering.
There are some discrepancies in the,
So we did the same for the first one.
that's correct.
Okay, so we're not outside of our
No,
scope.
and especially in Judge
At
Cole.
that time, the wetland or the watershed had to pay for it because we didn't have that ordinance passed. We just passed that ordinance last year where we can set fees.
And that $1,000 would be responsible for the developer. To the
So this is going this is what's already there and they're going back further, or what's being developed here?
They're growing to the north.
I believe so.
Which takes it clear up to the open ditch?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're doing that little parcel across 827 and then that main parcel right there. And you see all that tile that goes through Jim Hale's property to the west.
Well, see, and that's where there's a real issue.
Yes, yes, Jim Hale has horrible issues with this property. It gets everybody's water. Glendarren, Nolan Meadows.
Yeah, everything comes under the railroad from the city,
Yep.
It crosses, Judge Cole crosses the railroad 3 times.
which I mentioned to the city engineer, we could always put a plate on our side of it. She said, yes, you could.
So the tile does need to be in adequate condition to be able to handle the excess water. That's basically what we want to make sure that Christopher.
So I've had multiple conversations with Mr. Hale,
I got you.
and he was told that the tile under 827 is the real issue on draining his property.
And the barrel.
It's never been put at the right elevation to do that, even though he was told it was gonna be fixed last time that was 827 was resurfaced. And that was news to the state highway that when he approached them, so. So the part that we're actually concerned about, is it only on the east side or is it also on the west side?
It's all gonna actually drain to the east.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's gonna affect Mr. Hale's property too much, but it is one of 5 drains, at least 5, that go into Pigeon Lake.
One out.
But, so the more water you put in on the east side, the less capacity, if it starts raising that water level a little bit, it just backs up more
It
into
could
his.
possibly.
It's the way I think about it.
His retention pond, I believe, is gonna be outlet to the ditch, which theoretically should flow to the east. I only did see one retention pond on the phase 2.
And the release rate will be slower supposedly with the detention pond, but again, that's why with the whole thing with Jim, like you brought up, Rick, I would definitely like to send that out for secondary review. So
Retention pond.
myself and the drainage board is totally,
Where's that retention pond situated on that property?
It would be like right in this area.
there you go, you have it. Oh, there you go, right there.
There's a couple of existing wetlands or something on there as well.
Better than.
Yeah, is that it right there?
Yeah.
Puts it up into this corner. I'm looking at that right?
Yep.
Or up in this corner?
Yep. Yep.
And that's the drain that goes through there.
So is that flow rate made to our standards, right? We're the ones. that-
It is, but again, with, I want to send this out for secondary review.
Right, but it's supposed to be designed to our standards.
It is, yes. With the release flow being even that or less of what it is now naturally before being developed.
Right.
I realize that that's what it is on paper, but again, I do not have the credentials to be able to review that, put my stamp of approval on it. Plus with the history of the other things with Mr. Hale and all that, again.
Christopher Burke's the ones who are the ones who write the standards.
Yeah.
They're the- Everybody that has a stormwater prevention plan, Burke has the template for that, for the ones who.
Did we make the ordinance, so we have to go back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you have to go back, still go back through, see if anything.
It's passed.
Okay, yeah,
It's a
I know,
copy
but
of
I
it.
didn't know we really needed, like, bring it back to us with, that's fine.
Okay, well, this is the first time I've ever done this yet, so that's why I guess.
Yeah.
Just trying to be in unison with the drainage board.
The idea of this was to make it standard
Correct.
practice, right?
So just wanted a blessing to make sure in case the developer pushed back.
No, we made the ordinance for that.
Okay.
Correct.
My biggest concern on your retention ponds, I know we had some more come up is, ownership of them. I mean, that's become a big issue and,
Some sold in Texas.
yeah, well, yes.
And then the Shawnee Trails too, that's another one.
Yeah, so I would like to find out, is that something that's supposed to be on our plate? Is that the, developer? I mean, it should be,
Plan commission should require covenants and restrictions for approval. And can require that the common areas be.
taken by the HOA.
Needed.
But this is in the ETJ as well.
That's the problem.
Yeah, none of them are in county. This is a,
Yeah, this is ETJ.
yeah,
So,
but a lot
So
of
these
these,
there, pretty much like.
well, this being old, but yeah,
Those-
that's primarily where a lot of our issues are within, town and city limits and, where I came from and I was on the, neighborhood association, our retention ponds were part of the HOA and those fees went, coming up as, pretty standard, never had this issue. We have about every retention pond in the neighborhood, I think, it is on the tax bill because no one's
I
paying for
don't know whether it's not a requirement.
it. I don't know either.
What happens is the HOA doesn't get informed,
Yeah,
or gets formed, and nothing happens, and they get administratively dissolved at the state, by the state, because nobody wants to do it or has time to do it.
So then the property goes, which
Tax
is.
then becomes a problem for us as drainage board when you have all these,
People are trying to clean them out and make ponds or make.
buying them
Yeah.
or just letting them fill in where they should be maintained, and it becomes a drainage issue. So that's, I guess that's my question. Is there something we can do on our end? Or is it something we need to continue to have discussions with, the cities and towns to make sure that they're, because I would think we need to be able to put, even if the HOA dissolved, you could still have that tax, burden
They usually
for that
do.
retention pond spread out throughout the neighborhood.
I think that I've seen a lot of them were on their deeds. It says like 156 interest in common area.
That's one way that developers do it,
Right.
is they give them a percentage interest in the common area. Does the developer have to get a drainage board approval for their plan with the city?
Yeah. That's why we're doing a secondary review of this.
Then you could require it. I don't know if you can require it, you can request that the plan commission.
Looking at that it is part of the deed.
Yeah.
I like that. Because I think if you went back to that GIS you showed of the even first stage or first phase of that development, it looked like the retention pond was, click on the retention pond. Who owns that? There's right now. That one right there. Not that one. Well, that one too, I guess. Yeah, what is that?
That's developer,
Right. And so once it gets out of the developer's hands, then,
right, it won't
Who
be
owns it?
maintained.
yeah,
and that's the
This is a common issue in every county in the state of Indiana.
Like this one down here. It's owned by Joe.
Right.
That's the one he bought on.
Oh, like the fountains, yeah.
That's when they were in there cleaning up.
clean it out. And I think the city might be doing that because of the issues that they've had, but, I think it's definitely something that, needs to be addressed because I don't know how many we have, but Kelly just approached me a couple weeks ago about it.
It's with every subdivision that's out there.
Yeah. And so there's something being missed somewhere to allow that to happen.
Yeah, even that one in Fremont, Blackman Prairie is owned by.
Yeah.
So my question, is that on us to,
I think it's upon you to insist upon it when the plan comes before the drainage board.
right?
On here.
I mean, we can do it for this one. How can we start doing it for all these other ones?
Yeah, this one did not come to the drainage board, or the plan commission.
Went to the city plan.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It didn't come to the drainage board for approval.
Yeah, it is right now.
It is now, yeah.
Well, this one is Eastland Crossing, but yeah, there's been times where you've never even heard that was being developed until it's too late.
Yeah, but it's here for, not regarding the common areas, it's here more for the,
Secondary.
it's whether the drainage pond is adequate to handle the drainage. So I think you can include that as a part of your approval that whatever number of lots are in this section of the subdivision, that's the denominator and the numerator is one, ownership in these common areas.
Who ensures that it gets deeded that way?
It'd be up to the developer and the plan, Angola Plan Commission. It should be on the plat. There should be a reference to it on the plat.
They don't do it.
They don't.
It's a discussion I've had with the city on it, that there's a process being missed.
Well, municipal plan commissions tend to think the drainage is
Not their problem.
not their, yeah, exactly. So if they present it to you, I'd say that you can require it. Or so your approval is subject to any.
But the developer brought this to us, not the city plan.
Actually went to
No.
the city plan commission first, and then it's kind of both ways. I think Leroy
Correct.
dropped off something,
Yeah.
let Jim know that he was gonna do phase two. And then the Brooks Steed ended up passing on the phase two.
And so I got a verb, I talked to Amanda Cope, who I invited her to be here. She said she would relay the message just because I said we're not gonna get back to Mr. Brett Steele as quickly, until this goes through. And I was asking for secondary approval. Verbally, Amanda was in support of that.
Of the secondary,
Absolutely, yes.
but she doesn't know. I know I've had those discussions with her on the, figuring out who future ownership of the retention ponds are. I think that's something we need to.
Yeah, I guess my first thing is I just want to make sure that it drains properly. Who owns the thing, I guess, is up to, I don't know.
Well, it doesn't be, it's not our problem until it becomes our problem.
And it will
Yeah,
eventually,
exactly, so.
20, 30 years.
Yeah.
An average pond needs to be dipped out every 8 to 10 years. Your
Right.
average fish pond, farm pond does, so
Right,
this
so-
would be the same, so.
Or the city.
Or more so.
County went back and forth on who should take over the Fountains Retention Pond. Because it'd been up for tax sale for years and
Right.
nobody wanted it.
Right. And like I said, there's many of them, other ones out there, so I think if we can maybe figure out a way that it doesn't happen in the future. We should do that.
One
Yeah,
hundredth of it or something.
that's what I know, when the neighborhood I lived in, that's the way it was.
So back to the question, do we need a secondary?
Yeah, I don't know if we need to vote on it because it's part of, it's already an ordinance.
It's already an ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah. But do we need to vote on the, what Don was saying, there's possible restrictions on it?
You're going to get a report and then you're going to approve or not approve the drainage plan. I think at that point, you need to put a condition on your approval that,
Okay, so when we come back and bring the approval, that's when we can do the secondary condition. Okay.
Michelle, generally, how long does that take for them to approve second
We
review?
spent quite a few bucks on there, but I think maybe a few weeks normally.
Okay.
I need to make sure I give them a heads up that we'll be sending it over to them.
Okay. Perfect.
And we do already have a surveyor's agreement with Christopher Burke.
So 579, 531, those are just, looking at doing, maintenance hearing, or the hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be the 6th, October 6th, not the 3rd. 3rd is a Friday.
October 6th would be our meeting.
Unless you're thinking like,
It was the wrong year again.
October 6th for the public.
Yep, the
hearing.
6th. Just sub that out.
Is that no?
well, you had 3rd on here, so were you thinking the 6th would, or would be the 13th?
No, we were thinking November 3rd.
That's a Monday.
November 3rd.
Okay. That's a Monday.
Yeah, well, maybe that's
So we gotta give the time limit of
Oh, yeah, if you're already,
mailing and
yeah.
the October 20th isn't gonna.
November.
Well, October 6th definitely won't work then.
my bad.
November 3rd, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
And what do you, is that fine with the times, 205 for Theodore and then Hamilton Lake Forest?
Units that were,
I look like Forest much bigger than Theodore.
well, is Theodore decent size? I mean, is it smaller that it's not gonna take that much time, or is it gonna be?
No, that's one Kevin was here for, so
Well,
we were already.
Ron Beller's on it, so.
Yeah.
That means Kevin's gonna be here.
Yeah, you have a potential assessment goal.
Yeah, right here.
I did have some, well, Jim and I went to the Signal River Basin Commission meeting last week here. There was, a meeting after the meeting, a planned meeting. Asked us to stay and talk about it because we're kind of in that situation. Part of it was they're looking at, maintenance. Yeah, just lost my word.
Cumulative.
Yeah,
Drain.
cume drain.
Hume Drake Fine.
Elkhart County over there's done one for, it's back in the 70s, I believe is what they said. But, yeah, it's helped them be able to maintain their drains a little bit better, but they have a very structured plan on how they go through and schedule and clean drains.
On that cume drain too, you also can't tax any of them in the municipalities.
Inside the municipalities.
And then it also, there's a cap on how much cume funds you can have. So then usually, this is what we were explained, is that it's gonna take money from another funding source. Because you're only allowed to have so much percentage. And then you still have to have hearings if you're over a certain dollar amount, or maintenance, reconstruction, whatever.
Not what we were told, but
Yeah, it's not all cracked up what they try to push.
so, and it's, yeah, this was just for discussion. They were there and wanted to talk about it. Really just talking about different ways to fund your maintenance and everything, so. That was one of them.
And I believe it says something in the code too, that once it becomes a cume drain, council has control over the funds.
There's pros and cons. I think, what did they say, Rick? Only 2 counties or 3 counties possibly are at the cumulative fund?
The other county is looked at it several times, but when they actually, if they're running the numbers correctly on the number of parcels and what they could, the maximum they could collect, they said
Something percent of each hundred.
they were losing money to the maintenance, so.
It's just, it's,
That's great.
That's,
when you come to a spot like to have, like, what we talked about the Arthur Boyer, it would really say, but we have to prioritize, but
Yeah, it takes a structured plan to go through it. And every year you're going to spend a certain amount of money to maintain drains, and you're gonna do so many feet, mile, whatever of drain every year. Yeah, you're gonna have your times that you need to do emergency work on one here or there.
And another, I guess, another negative aspect of it, now it is supposed to only be for regulated drains, but you can have every single one of those lake associations coming and petitioning for a new drain. Because there's backlots are getting overbuilt, that kind of thing, and then they all have drainage issues, but then we don't have enough room for right of way to even put a drain.
Yeah.
And nobody wants one going down to the beach area.
And what's the maximum coverage on the lot for hard surface?
30, well, 50% total.
Tell you what, the barn I just looked at today on the back lot, it's really pushing the 50%, let me tell you.
Well,
If not more.
well, it's 35 for the building, 50% total. So that includes impervious surfaces. So driveway and building is 50%. 35%.
There's no question the envelope gets pushed right up to the amount.
But when you look at a thing, it is 35% and the math does work. Usually we'd have those things in here, you're like, I don't see how that is possible, but when you start taking the side lots and the front lots, the back lots, like, all right, well, it is 35%, but you swear it's not, but yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it, but especially when they're, too huge height and everything else.
Anyway, that's all I had. They come on the meeting, so.
All right. All right, we are in recess. Thank you.